you guys. But good morning. I'm Bobby Spiegel. I'm President and CEO of the Corona Chamber. It's 7 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and start our meeting. We'd like to make sure everyone mutes themselves. And also, if you have a question, you can put it in the chat box down below. But I'm just so excited that there are so many great things that are happening. And you know what? Since it's a Zoom meeting, we thought we'd do something fun here. At the end of the session, we're going to ask a question. And in doing so, the winner will receive a free ticket to the June Good Morning Corona. And our plan is to be up at Eagle Glen in June. And as well, they'll be able to get a $50 gift card for any business that is a Corona Chamber of Commerce member. So you choose where you want to go. Maybe you want to have a restaurant gift certificate, or maybe you want to get an oil change. Go to one of our members, tell me who it is, and we'll get you a $50 gift card, because we believe in small business. We believe in helping those businesses. And so again, there will be a question at the very end of the day, and we want to make sure that that you guys play along with that. So without any further ado, I'm very honored to introduce our MC today. You know, the saying goes, John Wygant is a tremendous individual. He absolutely wears so many different hats when it comes to being a husband, a father, a friend, a mentor, a leader, business owner. He's God-fearing, but he's a great American. Please welcome our past chairman of the board from 2 years ago. Please welcome John Wygant. Yeah, the crowd goes crazy. The applause.
Yeah. Woo! All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, Corona. So this is a much different and unique event, so I'm excited about it. So today, I don't know if you know, since 1962, this is known, May 15th is known as Peace Officers Memorial Day. So flags are flown at half-mast for today and for the week. So same for this year. So in honor of that, we're going to stand. I'm going to stand, and we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance together. So if you'll join me. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Woohoo! Very good. I'm glad most of you had it on mute. That would have been really fun if it wasn't for that. So let me tell you a little about what we're going to cover today. In the next 6 hours, we'll have you riveted on here on Zoom for 6 straight hours. Just kidding. No, we're going to have a legislative action update from Jeff Gibson. He's on here. He's our advocate for the our legislative action committee. We have an update from our chairman of the board, Don Williamson. And then we're going to hear from our sponsor today, Riverside Medical Clinic. And I saw that they're on here. And then Ryan Cortez from Corona's Economic Development is going to give us an update. And then I see Karen Spiegel, our supervisor, is on. She's going to give us an update from the county. We have virtual networking tips from MobileMary Barnett. And we're going to highlight new members. Believe it or not, we're signing up a lot of new members last several months. And then we have our keynote speaker, District Attorney Mike Hestrin. We have some announcements. And it's going to be just a great morning. We're going to move it along real quick. So I'm going to introduce Jeff Gibson. Jeff is the owner of Occidental Communications Group. And again, he works with our chamber. He is our legislative advocate for the Corona Chamber of Commerce. So Jeff, I know you have some exciting and lots of stuff going on. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate that. So yesterday, the governor released what's known as the May revised budget. So in January, a budget was released. All of those numbers are then updated for May. Obviously, a substantial number of things have changed between January and May. Before the crisis, the state had a rainy day fund of approximately $11 billion. If you remember, the governor inherited from the previous governor a state budget that had an emergency fund of about $22 billion. And in his first year, spent about $11 billion of that rainy day fund on a number of one-time projects. The state is now $54.3 billion in deficit. If you add the deficits of almost 40 other states put together, they don't equal California. And we're running a deficit of about $110 billion between today and the end of fiscal 2022. So the governor's budget obviously reflects spending within the emergency, but the state basically spent about $45 to $60 billion, or about $1 billion a day, which is actually more money than FEMA was spending during the emergency. So if you to kind of put it into perspective, that no one's there isn't any clarity on where that money went to. Since the majority of masks, the majority of material, the majority of support that was received came from FEMA. And no other state spent at that level, not even New York. But we have $54.3 billion. The governor's proposing about $18 billion in cuts. About $15 billion of that will come from K-12 and then the university system. Luckily, high-speed rail is not going to have any cuts. It's going to be the governor's proposing $2.8 billion in spending on high-speed rail this year to complete the only link, which is between the city of Manteca and about 1.5 miles north of Bakersfield. So we're spending at about $2.8 billion a year on that project. We're spending about $8 billion as a state on other transportation projects, including hardening our airports against the C-19 virus and other items. So you can kind of see where the priorities here are on items like that. So this is going to be a gigantic issue going forward. The governor has stated that his reopening plans are going to be affected by budget realities. And so that puts a lot of us on guard who are working with the governor and the administration every day, that we're not going to be making decisions on when kids go back to school, or when governments like the county of Riverside are allowed to reopen their areas based solely on science and health, but more on, can the state afford to have schools open, for instance, because that was one of the things that Governor Brown, you may remember, used to help balance the state budget during the last budget crisis, which were furlough days. And so in any case, we're monitoring that for you, and I would be happy to discuss it. I've read most of the top lines of the budget, but if you had any specific questions, climate change funding was not cut at all. Really the basic, other than some trims to some different pieces of the budget, the largest piece of the cuts, again, almost 15 billion of the 18 billion come from K-16. So that's UC, that's CSU, that's Corona Norco. So in any case, it really does kind of boggle the mind. That and prisons were cut by about $1 billion because of the savings from prisoner releases to good folks like Karen Spiegel and Mike Hestrin to deal with. Fresno County probably had the best response to that when asked if they were going to be enforcing the governor's orders. The sheriff of Fresno County said she was too busy rearresting the people that had been released, the felons that had been released from custody, to even consider going after law-abiding citizens and stopping them in their cars to see if they were within a reasonable distance of their home. So that kind of characterizes what several counties are dealing with. And as the author of Jessica's Law, obviously it's very disappointing to me to see some of the people that have been released and have gone on to reoffend within days of being re-released. But in any case, happy to answer any questions.
Well, more good news from Jeff. That's pretty awesome. And we're in May. We're not even in June gloom. We're bringing in May's wonderful, wonderful words there.
Sorry to be so much light and humor in this time, but
yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. So
you're welcome. Anytime I can help.
Everybody pick their chin up off the desk, and we're gonna figure something out here. So hey, but we're gonna introduce Don Williamson, our chairman of the board for 2020, and he's also the founder of the Corona History Association. So Don, what do you got for us this morning?
Hey, welcome to the very first time we've ever had a Good Morning Corona here on a Zoom meeting. Thank you all for dialing in and being here today. We're making this, the chamber is continuing to work. The activities are going on. Some of our focus is it's just done. It's moved to other things, so we can do under the constraints that we're dealing with. And I really want to open up with literature from the past is really never goes out of style. And I want to read something to you. It kind of reminds me of today. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. And some of you who are old like me might remember having to read the Charles Dickens book, A Tale of Two Cities, as you might remember that as the opening line. Those of you that are younger, I will tell you that I wrote that. So these are definitely scary times. Every day is filled with surprises, mostly disappointments, as Jeff just covered for us. It is so sad to realize that all the suffering that is going on around us, that most of it is hidden from our view, but tens of thousands of people are losing their jobs, losing their businesses, losing all they have worked and planned for. The optimistic plans they had just 90 days ago are headed for the recycler now. We're just in the beginning and the stages of this fallout too. There are fears of people losing their homes, their personal assets. Our governor, as Jeff just covered, really gave us a bleak outlook for our state's budget. And it's frustrating. We're getting conflicting information from different sources. It's hard to know what to believe. It's hard to know what sources to trust. Dealing with all this has really taken a toll on each of us. I know that. It has on myself. My son's a school teacher. Boy, he's really struggling. He's a special ed teacher. Nobody's escaping this. We really have no idea when it will end. We have no idea if the virus will return, nor do we know if things are going to get better permanently or if we're just in a lull before another surge. It really is nervous time, and it's not going to have a quick or concise conclusion. We are losing once-in-a-lifetime events that cannot be replaced. Here in Corona, high school seniors are losing what for me was among the best few months of my life, moving out of the secondary school system and on to college. Sadly, friends of mine are burying their loved ones. They're not being able to properly mourn and have gatherings. For goodness sake, the library is even closed. People haven't been able to attend their churches. We've already cut back on what we're going to do here in Corona for the 4th of July. I mean, this is really outrageous developments, but this is a very historic time. From that perspective, I guess it's interesting to live through it, but it's also very trying. And with all this in mind, I want you to know that at the Chamber of Commerce, we continue to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on. If you have questions, if you need a resource, please call our office. We're open. Stephanie's on call. Linda's on call. Desiree is there. If you want to become a member, we have Robert waiting for you. Bobby's available 24/7. Call him anytime, day or night. We are there, and we just have the best group of people that I can imagine. And even though we're going through this in this tough times, please depend on the Chamber of Commerce. Times are tough for us too. Some of the things we depend on for income, we're not getting this year. And keep that in mind as your membership renewals come up. So again, I just want to thank you for being here. I look forward and appreciate our district attorney, who you think, here he is a district attorney of one of the biggest counties in the world, but the guy lives in the wilderness. I mean, I'm sure they have running water out where he lives, but I've talked to him about that, and I'm looking forward to hearing our district attorney. So anyway, John, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and again, thanks for being here today.
All right, thanks, Don. So if you're taking credit for that, I think we have, I think what I wrote was, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. That was mine. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, but John, you have to be under 40 to know that,
Hey, John.
Yes.
When Don's slogan for this year is "Make History," and I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Now I know.
Now we know. We'll never forget it. The year we'll never forget. Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have our introducing our sponsor, which is Riverside Medical Clinic. They're on today. So we're proud to have them with us. They have 7 locations in Riverside County, including a brand new one here in Corona. So that's pretty cool. They have over 30 types of specialties, and they recently began offering telemedicine. Who knew, right? 2020 marks their 85th year for caring for the community. And this morning we have their president and CEO on the call, Judy Carpenter. Judy, are you out there?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So, as you already mentioned, this 2020 does mark our 85th year in business, and I think, like everyone else, no one expected it to be like it is today. But we're open. We're trying to take care of patients. We have rolled out telemedicine. Right now, about 90% of our visits are through telemedicine. And if I could get one point across, it would be to please not be afraid to seek care. The hospitals are seeing the acuity level going up on non-COVID related cases, and the death rates are going up because people are afraid to seek care. And we're here to take care of everyone. And so we all need to band together. As you stated, we did make a significant commitment to the Corona area by opening our new medical office building. It's a 100,000 square foot multi-specialty clinic. We also have urgent care that's open 7 days a week there, and a surgery center. We work very closely with Corona Regional in recruiting some high-end specialists as well as primary care to the area. And I'd like to acknowledge one of our doctors that joined us on the Zoom call this morning, Dr. Williamson, who's an interventional cardiologist. Excellent training, excellent physician, and all around just a really nice guy on that. But I would like to thank him for being there. We were lucky enough to steal him away from UCLA and get him to practice out in the Inland Empire with us. Along with all of our care that we provide, we spend a lot of time training our future workforce. And over the past several years, we've trained over 400 students a year, whether it be residents, physicians that we're training, nursing students, medical assistants, lab or x-ray techs, healthcare administration, and wellness coaches. We have joined with a lot of local programs and welcome the students with open arms. An area of great pride for Riverside Medical Clinic are our quality scores. We take a lot of pride in the care that we provide. And to give you a couple examples, for the 3rd year in a row, we've been honored by the American Physicians Group, APG, back in Washington, D.C. this past fall for our quality that we're providing. In addition, the Integrated Healthcare Association again recognized RMC for excellence in healthcare by our STAR recognition for quality outcomes in reducing the cost of care and in improving overall health. And that was actually reported by four or five health plans like Anthem Blue Cross, United Healthcare, HealthNet, and SCAN, just to name a few. Our community is extremely important to us. We all spend a lot of time giving back to that community by either volunteering, participating on boards, attending and participating in fundraisers. And as an organization, we truly believe it's important to give back to that community that gives so much to us. So we thank all of you for giving us the opportunity to sponsor your first Zoom Good Morning Corona. On that, I'm going to do everyone a favor and I'll stop talking and we'll let you learn a little more about Riverside Medical Clinic by a video that we're going to show. So thank you again for letting us sponsor.
probably about between 20 to 30 different high schools where we are actually going out to the field.
It's just another way that we're involved in the community.
An injured worker will be seen at one of our clinics the same day.
The goal is to have the employee return to work.
We have a whole team approach.
It's very beneficial to the patients because the doctors work so well and so closely together.
We are the most board certified group of physicians out there.
We don't treat numbers, we treat patients.
It's all about the patients.
It's patient-centered.
We want to make sure that our patients are taken care of.
We really care about the patients.
I love my patients.
I love my patients.
We care about the patient just like family.
Patients are treated like our family members.
No matter what age you are, no matter what your problem is, no matter what your condition is, there is a practitioner here that can help you.
Well, thank you, Judy, and thank you to Riverside Medical Clinic for sponsoring today's Zoom, our hopefully first and last Zoom meeting from Good Morning Corona. So next up on our agenda, we have Ryan Cortez with the Economic Development Coordinator. He's the Economic Development Coordinator for the City of Corona. I saw Ryan on there earlier. He was recognized as Norco College Young Alumnus of the Year in 2016. So I think this is the last year we're allowed to talk about that because that's, he's not a young alumnus anymore. So Ryan, you on there?
I am.
All right.
All right, John.
All yours, buddy.
Appreciate the introduction. Kind words, John, as always. Good morning, everybody. Good to see some familiar faces. Wish I could see you in person, but this will have to do for hopefully just this month. Hopefully next month we can be back in person. So back in February, Bobby said, "Hey, Ryan, can you give a good presentation, give an update?" And I had lots of great news to share with you. And the world's changed a little bit in the last 60 days. So I'm going to share a little bit. I'm sure you'll have some additional questions, and I'm happy to take those. I don't know if we'll have time today, but we definitely email me and I can respond to you. So just prior to all this, we were about 24 months actually, or 24 quarters of record low vacancy. We had recovered very strong. Industrial vacancy was extremely low. Our office vacancy was near zero. That's why we're standing up our new office building at Dos Lagos. And then March, things began to change. So here's a little bit about what we know now. Every single day I'm asked, what are the impacts to Corona? So I can share this with you now. We've received notice of about 1,100 furloughs from 21 companies here in Corona. They are required to do that for larger companies of 75 employees or more. And what we are finding now is, as we're touching bases, is these, as of what we can tell now, are going to be furloughs. They do anticipate bringing them back. Don't know, how long that'll be, but we did see numerous businesses have furloughs, and some of these were part-time furloughs. So they were reducing staff to maybe part-time hours where they're still employed. So we are seeing that. Other thing that is interesting, and although it may not sound as great news, it is good news, is Corona had approximately 84,000 jobs going into this. We saw those 1,100 furloughs, but WRTOG did a comprehensive study of at-risk industries for every Western Riverside Council or Western Riverside city. And only 28% of the jobs within those 84,000 were considered to be at high risk. It does not mean that those 28% jobs are gone. It means that they're at high risk or being severely impacted right now. Those high risk industries include retail, food, service, and drinking, accommodations, arts, entertainment, recreation, and transportation. So as you know, Corona historically has focused on 4 main categories for business growth. That includes our aftermarket auto industry, food processing, aeronautics, R&D, medical, and research. So, chasing those 4 clusters, we've been able to position ourselves to where we have sustainable, strong economic growth. And this is a great example of some of our surrounding communities are being impacted as much as 50%, and we're would actually fare 3rd in the region. Just a little bit there. If you wanted to discuss that more in depth, I have a very lengthy report on that. Be happy to share that and discuss that with you.
Okay.
So the big question is, what's next? I can share with you, we're continuing to push out information about recovery efforts on how to best recovery. We've kind of spent the last 2 months sharing how to best apply and get those federal dollars out. We do know that many businesses are still waiting, but we're also hearing that businesses are finally starting to receive those. Great news there. What we anticipate seeing here in the next, throughout the year is a continued surge in e-commerce. Many of our businesses are transitioning to an e-commerce platform, really learning to adapt. I'm super excited and proud of them for going into, quite honestly, more of a survival mode and just learning to adapt to the new environment. And we expect that will continue through the remainder of this year. Consensus across the region with most of our economic development managers is that will continue. Also, an increase in businesses allowing employees to work. We are starting to see that even prior to this, more industry allowing employees to do virtual commuting at least a couple of times a week. And we've seen those adaptions, and we anticipate that helping. One thing is that also, we're looking at what those impacts potentially could be to our traffic condition, allowing more employees to work virtually or WeWork or different solutions like that. So with that being said, as more information evolves, we'll definitely be sharing that with the chamber. We'll be sharing that with the community. If you're not on following us on social media, please log in, monitor us. We're pushing out 10+ messages a day of all the updates. Everything from economic development to community updates to ELC efforts. And if you have any direct questions for me, please put them in the chat, or you can email me at ryan.cortez@coronaca.gov.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. So got your work ahead of you there. So, well, we're fortunate enough this morning to have our Riverside County Supervisor, Karen Spiegel, on the Zoom call with us. Karen was elected in 2018 for the 2nd District. She was a previous treasurer of City of Corona and also served on the City Council 16 years as mayor. So, Karen, I know you've been working night and day, and it's been a fun first year for you in the supervisor's office. So, give us an update.
Well, I'll tell you, John, I have a different definition of fun, but that's okay. Actually, good morning, Corona. This is really a great day, and we have to have a positive attitude. I do want to share just very quickly, since I've got just a minute, the best source of information, be consistent with the county and the state, is to go to rivcoph.org, rivcoph.org/coronavirus. That is all the information for our county. Some cities, I know that Corona does a very good job on their website of giving information, but remember, cities may have a little bit different information, but if you're trying to open your businesses, please work closely with the county and follow the state, because there are some restrictions that don't appear to be there, but they are there. We're working very diligently advocating for reopening businesses. We know that's the livelihood of so many people. It is incredible that we help you to be successful. So in doing so, we're having some challenges meeting some of the state's criteria. We have met 6 of the criteria, but one of the most critical one is, if you're aware, is that they want us to have 14 straight days of no deaths, as well as minimal increases of positive testing. Testing is one of the highest pushes for both the state and the federal. Riverside County has been the highest per capita of the 58 counties in our state. We have tested almost 75,000 individuals, which means we've also been testing the asymptomatic. And with that being said, that means we have a lot more positive than we have in our counties. So we have been working with many of the other counties, particularly San Bernardino, Orange County, and San Diego. We sent a letter with the 4 counties and our chairs requesting a meeting so that we can identify strategies to achieve safe and reasonable sustaining opening and the reopening of our businesses. He has his criteria. We're trying to explain when he talks about regional variance. We are definitely a variance. We are not like San Francisco in the northern part. We're not like other counties. We are very similar down here. We commute. We have a bigger spread. We're not high density in most of the areas. So hopefully we can get the governor to work on regional variances with us. Thank you to all the healthcare facilities. And I know that Judy Carpenter's on the phone, as well as Corona Regional Medical Center. It is because of your efforts that we were able to hit a very critical capacity of making sure that we don't have a surge problem. That was early on. That's the reason for the closing, the face masks, the social distancing, so that we didn't spread the virus and we were able to maintain the ability to have medical services for all of our residents. We are far under the surge capacity, which is because of all the team efforts. We do work very closely with our vulnerable populations. That's the skilled and long-term care facilities, as well as the homeless. That is something that's very important for the governor. We have developed our readiness and reopening framework. That is a booklet of all the criteria and how we're going to mitigate and address those. We've sent it to the governor's office to review and the consideration of our county variants. I want to thank Bobby Spiegel, who is on the call, and I don't know if anybody else is, but on our recovery task force, our economic recovery task force. There's about 20 folks on it that represent various areas within the county. It's working with them and our red team at the county executive office that put together this reopening framework. That task force will be working for at least the next 18 months, trying to help each of you to, as you reopen, to be successful. We want you to be successful. So we have various economic task force and work groups that we're all working on, and we need to be partnering very much. So please ask the questions. Please look into the information. We need to make sure, and as I brought before, is testing. Open the testing. They keep pushing testing. So we have 4 that we have the original testing sites. The state stood up 8 more. And now we're adding even more. So we really want to get as many testing, spread the word. It's non-invasive. Well, it is a little bit. Depends on which test you get. But it's quick. How's that? It's very quick, and we're getting the results much quicker. So we're encouraging testing that we can continue on. And partnership with the Corona Chamber and any other organizations is critical in your success. I want to end with 2 things. And one is the census. During this time, we have a 10-year census occurring. The census is what sets us up for federal funding, some state funding for the next 10 years. Those numbers are critical. We need everyone, and we're only at 58% within the California as far as how many people have responded. It's very easy, the phone, the internet, you can mail it in. And if you got any questions, look forward to hearing from you because we want to help you turn that in. I'm going to end with that I never thought I would see a time that so many people were so afraid of dying that they weren't willing, and they were willing to stop living. So keep living every day. We've got some exciting times coming on. This is history. Let's continue to make history and turn this county around, and let's get everybody back to work and get your business successful. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Supervisor Spiegel. So now we're gonna zoom into Hawaii, where we have our mobile expert, MobileMary Barnett. I think we saw that she's in Tropical Island. So are you out there, Mary?
I am. It's hard with all the sunscreen and the Mai Tais I've been having. So yes, bear with me.
Thank you. I think it's your turn to share. Mary Barnett is the owner of Another Brilliant Idea since 1988. And wow, so you've been doing this a long time. A mobile social conversation. She shares her passion and expertise with live weekly video training. So what do you have for us?
Cool. So, hi, good morning, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your coffee this morning. It's so fun to see so many fun faces. I've been asked to speak on basically giving you some tips. And by the way, John, love your different hat changes. I've been noticing them. They're very adorable. Tips on virtual networking and connection. And John is a great example of that right now. I love it. But I know we've been hearing a lot of doom and gloom, and yes, it sucks. I think we all recognize that. But we really need to look at this as an opportunity, really, to show up and be visible. Or maybe some of your competition is hiding and shivering under the covers. You have the opportunity to really step out and be seen, because your potential clients are really looking for you. Believe it or not, they're online, and you need to meet them there, and you need them take them offline. So I have 3 tips for you guys to kind of take this on and really own it. The first is to be real, be vulnerable, and to give grace, not only to others, but to yourself. So when you show up, if you know, something happens online, you drop your coffee, the camera is angled weird and it looks up your nose, who cares? I think that's one thing that's really brought all of us together, is that we have let go of being like buttoned up, and, you know, heck, the chamber is throwing a posh party, which is pants optional social hour. Like, come on, people, right? So it doesn't matter. You just have to dress up from the waist up. Nobody knows what's going on underneath. So just be real. Tell people how you're feeling. But if you can, spin to the positive, because we're all going through the same thing. We might be in a different boat, but we're all in the same storm. The second tip is to share your real story, because people love stories. So when you're going online and talking about it, tell how you started your business and why you started your business. People love to jump on the bandwagon and be a part of your team. So allow them to kind of see behind the curtain and really know why you did it, because then they're going to jump on and say, I want to be with you in this partnership, and they'll virtually want to be cheering you on in your business. And the third thing is, people ask me all the time, like, well, what do I share? I want to go on live, or I want to record a video and I don't know what to share on social media. Well, here's two really easy things you can do. One, because I believe that rising tides lifts all boats, that you can interview your clients. You can go on a Facebook, and now they just relaunched the, they call it Live With. So you can literally go side by side for free. There's lots of software you can do that easily as well. But you can actually go live and interview your clients online and talk about how awesome they are and why their business is wonderful. So you're literally lifting them up. The second idea is to celebrate your employees. Talk to everybody about why they're so awesome being a cashier, or why they are doing so great, and for your market research. Celebrate them. If they don't want to go on live, you can just show a picture of them, but you're basically lifting them up, which again shines the light back on you, that you are, as John is, a party animal. So anytime you can celebrate others, it's always a good thing, and it really will help you. And if you need help with any of this, I'm actually throwing a masterclass next week. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's going to be focused on medical professionals, actually, for social media, but everyone, it applies to everyone, every business. And again, I'll put that in there. But I also, before I'm kicked off, I want to thank all of you. I have this sign. Oh, it's going to go away because of my background. I want to thank everybody who has been active in, I'm going to turn off my virtual background, active in supporting FLAG. FLAG is a little organization we have in town here called the Frontline Appreciation Group. If you want to know more about it, you can text the word FLAG to the number 71441. And we were so excited. Yesterday we celebrated Hospital Week, and we were able to treat the entire staff at the Corona Regional Medical Center yesterday, and also the day before the rehab center. And yesterday also the Riverside Medical Clinic here in Corona, we're able to feed them a meal. It's all based on the generosity of the Corona
Awesome.
Residents. We really wanted to make sure that our town was known for being a town that cares, not associated with a virus. So we want to make sure that we're sharing that we're doing this all to support each other. And the best thing is, we're raising money to pay our restaurants. We're not getting discounts, to pay our restaurants, which helps them survive, so we can feed our healthcare heroes, which helps them thrive. And all around the community, people have been making signs. We've been putting them up in grocery stores.
Thank you, Mary.
And
it's
just great. Just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We got it. Good job.
So excited.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm excited too. And the reason I'm wearing this hat is I'm so excited to introduce our new members. So I want to highlight our new members that have joined since February and March and then April. So I'm going to introduce them quick while their names pop up on the screen. We have Alpha Laser Cutting. They've joined. And also from Northwestern Mutual, Ariana Vian. So they're financial planners. So we want to thank them. Also, massage therapist. I saw her on the call here. Athalis, I think it is. Athalis Massage Therapy. Welcome. And then Crystal Rogers. She's a realtor over at Keller Williams. Corona Animal Emergency Center. Corona Animal Emergency Center. And Corona Mobile Sweepers have joined. Kurt Pringle and Associates, along with Andy Anderson of Edward Jones. And then Indus Travel and Inspirations Home Care. I saw them on here. Also, Jesse MacArthur with State Farm. Kalowski Employee Law Corp. The Los Angeles Angels have joined. So when we get back to baseball there. Mind and Body Wellness Spa. NutriShop in Norco. Peyton and Peyton. We have Print Signs and Wraps. Rose Garden Group Incorporated. Skillets Cafe. Circoda Insurance. Training Refund Group. True Path Financial. The University of Redlands, the Riverside campus, and Waxing the City have all joined. So we want to congratulate and thank them for joining the chamber. We also have anniversaries. IHOP in Corona as a 5-year member, and Regan Paving has now been a member for 10 years. Town and Country Escrow Corporation for 15 years. Duralum Products Incorporated for 20 years. And Rhythm Tech Productions, they're our AV. They've been a 25-year member. So thank you and congratulations to all our members. So now we're going to introduce our keynote speaker for this morning, and he's been on the line patiently. It's our Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestrin, originally elected in 2014 and then reelected by landslide in 2018. And before he was a DA, he was an online prosecutor for about 20 years. So numerous recognitions. We're fortunate to have him. He's got a big job, and so DA Hestrin is on the phone, so let's give him a warm welcome. We want to thank him for being on the call. Mr. Hestrin, are you there?
Thank you. Yes, thank you, John. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, John, I'm going to say what everybody else has been saying. I love your hats, but you got me feeling insecure. I just have one tie that I've been wearing the whole time, so feeling a little boring over here. No, I would like to first of all, good morning, Corona. It's a pleasure to be with you. I wish we could be together in person. I want to take a few minutes today to talk to you about an initiative, a proposed change in the law that is going to be on the November ballot. And I spoke in front of the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday about this initiative, and I think it's important enough that I want to talk to you about it. In previous appearances before the chamber, I've spoken to you about my frustrations as a prosecutor, as the district attorney, with certain changes in the law that have taken place over the last 5 to 7 years. And some of these reforms, although well-meaning, have had really some pretty bad unintended consequences for all of us, for business owners, for society at large. And I've had myself and other prosecutors and police and sheriffs have been struggling with these unintended consequences. So an initiative has been placed on the November ballot. It's already got the signatures. It will be on the ballot. So we're beyond the signature gathering about this initiative. So I want to tell you about it. The initiative it's called Reducing Crime and Keeping California Safe Act, and it fixes some of the unintended consequences and flaws in some of our criminal justice laws, and mainly the laws that went into effect, Prop 47, 57, and AB 109. Now, let me just tell you at the outset that the Board of Supervisors in Riverside County voted to endorse this measure. including your great supervisor, Karen Spiegel. She supported this measure, and I very much appreciate having her support. So there's 4 areas that this law would make some changes into. And by the way, the reason I'm bringing it up is I want all of your support for this. It's hopefully when you hear what it'll do, you'll agree. So there's 4 areas. The first area, it changes so some of the definitions in California of what is and what is not considered violent crime. Now, why is that important? Well, the definition of what is and what is not considered a violent crime is important in California because Proposition 57, this few years ago, and I know you probably get confused with the 47 and 57 and 109, and I mean, I get confused myself, but 57 a few years ago, what it did is it was a law that said for people that are in prison, so we're talking about folks that have been convicted, they're in prison, if they show that they've been rehabilitated, they could be eligible to apply for and be released from prison sometimes years early. Okay, and the caveat was that this would not apply to any crime that was a violent offense. So that's how it was sold to the public, that this is only for nonviolent offenses. The problem is that California's list of what is a violent offense was and is woefully inadequate. For example, under current California law, trafficking a child for sex is considered a nonviolent offense. Rape of an unconscious person, considered a nonviolent offense. Assault on a peace officer, again, considered nonviolent offense. Felony domestic violence, considered nonviolent. You can't get more Orwellian than that to say, yeah, we think domestic violence is nonviolent. That's where we are in California. The reason why it's important to fix these, it doesn't change Prop 57. Prop 57 will still be there, but it makes it so that someone convicted of, for example, assault on a peace officer or trafficking a child for sex will no longer be eligible for early release. And I might be old-fashioned, but I think if you get convicted of trafficking a child for sex, you should not be eligible for early release. In fact, you should serve every day of your sentence. And I feel strongly about that. And I hope you will too and support the change. There's another area though. There's a serial theft. So serial theft, this proposition is going to fix a very significant flaw in Prop 47. Proposition 47 not only changed our drug laws, but it also changed our theft laws. For example, and every retail business owner out there, I think intuitively understands the problem. Someone who steals up to $950 of merchandise and below can only be convicted of a misdemeanor. The real problem is they could do that, steal $900 worth of merchandise every day for 1,000 days in a row, and the local prosecutor can only ever charge a misdemeanor. Now, what that has resulted in is that there's virtually no punishment for serial theft. And you've got businesses out there that are struggling with constant thefts. Gas stations, other retail stores. And we're not talking about just Walmart, Target, and the big box stores. They're suffering from this. But remember that most small businesses are family-owned operations. These are quote unquote mom and pop operations. These are people that are pouring their heart and soul into their business, and someone's coming in and stealing from them. And the government can't do anything about it. And it's caused a just tremendous amount of frustration in the business community, and rightly so. And when business owners ask me, well, Mr. DA, what are you doing about this? I say, I'm sorry, my hands are tied. And that's not right. And we need this fixed. So what this would do is it would change the amount from $950 down to $250. And it would say that after a third offense, I can charge you with a felony. So look, this is a modest common sense reform. This doesn't scrap 47 and 57. It doesn't do away with, the opponents of this are already spinning and being deceptive, unfortunately. They're saying, well, this is going to overturn all these things that we tried to do, and they want to put everybody back in prisons. That's nonsense. All this will do is say, look, if you continue to steal, eventually we can charge you with a felony. How is that not common sense? That's just common sense. So I hope that you'll appreciate and support that. By the way, since 47 passed, theft crime in California went from 12% to more than 25%, with estimates of the loss in the billions of dollars. And there's the real problem. A lot of business owners now don't even call the police anymore when there's a theft, because they know that nothing happens. And sometimes police don't even make an arrest because they know that nothing happens. So this is not sustainable. It has to be changed. All right, the last two I'll go over quickly, and then I'll open up for any questions. There's a change in the initiative to parole violations. When releasing a prisoner when someone is being released, including for early release, this change would say that the parole board has to consider the inmate's entire criminal history, not just their most recent offense. Again, common sense. If someone's going to be released into the public, we should be able to consider, the parole board should be able to consider their entire criminal history, because if they've committed dangerous, violent acts in the past, but they happen to be in prison right now for a nonviolent offense, that should just be weighed. That's all we're saying. We're not saying that they could never be released. We're saying the parole board should take it all into account. The last one, a little bit controversial, is it reinstates DNA collection for people convicted of misdemeanor offenses. So here's what this is about. When Prop 47 went into effect, felonies, when someone was convicted of a felony, they would get their DNA taken. Local officials would then take that DNA and upload it to a state database. We solve many rapes and murders that way, because when there's an unsolved murder and rape, they put that information into state databases and constantly checking to see if we get any hits, is what we call it. Well, since the passage of Prop 47, those hits dropped off dramatically because the law no longer allowed for the collection of DNA. So this would reinstate the collection of someone who is convicted, not arrested, but convicted of a misdemeanor offense that used to be a felony under prior to Prop 47. The reason this is important is that folks out there that have been victimized, rape, or a family member or loved one's been murdered, they deserve justice. And this is the way we get justice. And when someone gives up their DNA and we upload it to a state database, a lot of times that results in a hit. And we have a whole unit at the Riverside DA's office, the cold case unit, that works through these cases. And there are many of them. And technology over the last 10 years has really improved in terms of DNA. So the accuracy is really incredible now. So this is a very important tool that we need in law enforcement. So that's it. That's the initiative in a nutshell. Again, it's called the Keep California Safe Initiative, Reducing Crime and Keeping California Safe for 2020. It will be on the November ballot, and I hope that you will support this. This is an important, modest, common sense, middle of the road reform. And look, let me just say this in closing. Lawmaking is not a perfect business, whether that comes from the legislature or the initiative process. People write a law and they have, they're well-intentioned in that writing, and they put certain provisions in that law. And then when the law goes into effect, several years later, then we, the public, get to figure out how it really works. Not on paper, but actually works. And what this initiative does is it takes into account that real world experience with these laws, and it says, we've got to make a couple fixes. So it's not overturning anything. It's making common sense fixes, and I hope you'll support it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Absolutely. So I know that there was so Dean Safe had a question. He said, Mike, does that mean that if someone steals a gun worth under $950, they're not arrested at this with the current law?
Unfortunately, under the current law, it doesn't mean they're not arrested. It means it's a misdemeanor and not a felony, and it's sort of ridiculous. That amount of $950 is just pulled out of nowhere. It's just random amount. And we've all heard stories of serial thieves going into stores with a calculator on their phone, making sure that they steal less than $950, because then it's a misdemeanor forever and ever. And I can't charge them with anything more than a misdemeanor.
Right. Thank you. I know it looks like our city councilman, Jason Scott, said this initiative is going to come up for vote with the city council for them to vote in support of it. So they're putting that on. So someone asked what the initiative was called. It's called Keep California Safe. Is that correct?
Yeah, the full title is a bit longer. It's called the Reducing Crime and Keeping California Safe Act of 2020.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, don't read or don't pay any real attention to the description that the Attorney General gave it. Of course, you can imagine these ballot descriptions have become politicized and partisanized. And so unfortunately, look into it yourself and do the research, and I can help you with that anytime. I see a question there. I'll just hit it right now. The ballot does not have a number yet. I'm sorry, the initiative does not have a number yet, but it will. It will be on the November ballot. It already qualified back in 2018.
Okay. Last time you were here, DA, you gave an update on someone who was taking advantage of some minority business owners threatening them for lawsuits, and you made it, I think it was a hate crime, and we had read somewhere that it was overturned. Is there any status of that, or what's the update on that?
No, that case was not overturned. That individual is doing 22 years in prison, and I'm going to make sure he does every bit of it as much as I can. So that case, he's been convicted. He's going to appeal the case, and we'll see what the appellate courts say. I feel strongly that that case will be okay. What you're referring to, John, is that after that case, the Riverside DA's office sued in civil court, not in criminal court, but we filed a civil action against the law firm that was doing all these mass litigation on these, basically fraudulent litigation. We sued them, and a local judge dismissed it. Okay. We are appealing that, so it's going up to the appellate court. So that's the status of our civil lawsuit. So again, this is not a criminal matter. We're basically suing this company to try to disgorge the ill-gotten gains that they've been taking from our local business owners. If we get that money, we're going to give it back to the victims.
Right. Well, congratulations. I'm glad he's still in jail. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, District Attorney Hestrin. We appreciate you being on the call and all the work you're doing. Bobby's going to, you're getting an applause. I know you can't hear it, but you're getting an applause. So
thank you, guys.
John, John, before the DA goes, I can't figure out my message thing, so I just had a question, if I may.
Sure.
DA, thank you. But more than that, how can I, a citizen of Riverside County for over 30 years, how can I personally do something to help share this true information about fixing these laws?
Well, I have shared, I sent it to Stephanie Shapiro, so I'm sure she sent it out, but so check your email, but I sent out a bunch of written information about this initiative. So please, that's a great question, Pete. I would really appreciate it if you would help get the word out. I mean, send it to your contacts, your emails, your Facebook, social media, however you see fit. But I will tell you, and I've already sort of been given a warning, the opponents of this are going to try to get organized, and they're just being very deceptive. They're, for example, I already heard that, DA Hestrin is trying to, criminalize poverty, blah, 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 a bunch of nonsense. It's not true. But the law is the law, right? Stealing is theft is a crime, and my job is to enforce the law and do something about crime. And I'm trying to do my job. That's it. And so please help get the word out so that when the deceptive, spin starts to come, people can make their own decisions. I think people are smart, a whole lot smarter than most politicians give them credit for.
So can I copy and paste onto my Facebook? Because I do have the 8 slides. That's great stuff. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Bobby's going to cover some announcements and close out our meeting real quick.
Absolutely. Thanks, Santa. Appreciate you being MC. So John is the MC. I just wanted to mention real quick, if we're going to give a door prize away, so I need you to start putting in the chat box, how many different hats did John wear? The winner of that, whoever has the right number, and John will announce it later, but whoever wins that, selects that, the first one to name how many hats he wore throughout today, will get a entry to the June Good Morning Corona, as well as a $50 gift certificate to any business in the Corona Chamber that you want to go and patronize. John, thank you so much for being our MC today. Riverside Medical Clinic, wow, thank you so much for agreeing to be the sponsor for our first and hopefully only Zoom Good Morning Corona. But if not, then you were the inaugural sponsor for it, so we do appreciate it. To all the sponsors, to all the speakers, we thank you, and we also thank all the people that attended today. We had over 70 people at one point that were on this, and I know that it's on Facebook, and we're also sending this out on our weekly e-blast. So the information shared today will also be shared throughout the time. John?
Well, I think we also want to make sure that we're going to email all the people that were on afterwards. We're going to email everyone that list. So we want to make sure that's how you can network and connect with anyone that you see on here. But make sure that your information is updated with the chamber as far as your description of your business. And if that's not, or you don't know how to do that, you can reach Stephanie at the chamber at stephanie@mychamber.org, or you could call the chamber and speak to her.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Yes.
I just have a quick statement. What Mary Barnett was talking about, the flag appreciation.
Dean, I'm going to be covering that next. I'm on next, so give me just a second, and I hope I capture it for you. So the next slide real quick, because we're on a time frame. We want to respect everyone's time, but we have a weekly Zoom meeting, and you'll be getting the link on it. But I will tell you that this next Wednesday, we're going to give tips on how to get your business back started, and it's going to be some tremendous information. Eugene Montanez is going to be the one that has compiled some data and some information, some great tips for you. So that's Wednesday at 10 o'clock. The next slide, please, will be about the flag program that Mary was talking about. And again, what we would like you to do is text the word flag to 71441. We want you to donate. You can, this is a good way to support healthcare workers. Yesterday was a tremendous thing. Great information being shared. Karen Henderson has been doing some signs to the different grocery stores, cards of appreciation. It is fabulous. John, you want to touch on the Posh?
Yeah, we have the Posh mixer, which is pants are optional. So I was on the last one. It'll be May 19th. That's this week. I think it's Tuesday, if I believe. Yeah, Tuesday at 3:30. So you want to virtual members, you can get on that. It's free for members of the chamber. So register for that event at mychamber.org. And we have our golf tournament coming up in August 5th. Foursomes and sponsorships are available. The other thing that's going to be neat this year is we're going to honor our frontline workers and give them the opportunities to golf. So those in our business and community. So we're looking for sponsors that can help and help those people come out and golf and have a great relaxing day. And it'll help the chamber with all the programs that we do.
Thank you, John. And I want to clarify on the hats. It's the physical hats. It's not all the hats of him being the MC or a business owner, a father, a husband. It's only the physical hats that he had on. But I'd like to just go ahead and share real quick that we have the Women's Leadership Conference coming on up, and that is for Riverside County. We've got some great speakers, and it's going to be a tremendous day, September 24th. Tickets are available now, and there's a special pricing through June 10th, and you can go onto the website and get more information on it. The last thing on this slide here that I'd like to do is mention what's next on June 19th. We have got a great opportunity for our Executive Leadership Roundtable. They will be our sponsor, and they are actually graduating from the program. They have a very unique program. Each year, the ELR group selects a project to do in the community. And what they've chosen to do is to raise money and awareness for the USO. And out at the USO, which is actually the Bob Hope USO out at March Airfield, that's the very first show that was done by Bob Hope, was right out there at March Field. The USO does a tremendous job on helping the military folks come in as they come back, but also as they deport to to their duties. And they currently are serving them peanut butter and jelly, a PB&J, and that is great. We don't want to take away from that, but we want to also offer them some other options. So they've taken on a big task. The ELR group would love to get some donations. So if you can go to givebigcorona.com, that is the Chambers Foundation website. If you go to that, you can select the ELR program and donate for the USO. It is a tax-deductible donation. On that, I want to turn it back to John. I want to say thank you, John. Stephanie, did you see how many in there?
Yep, we have a winner. I wore 13 hats today, and the winner is Solomon Shapiro. He had it right at 13. So
that is unbelievable, because you know what? He even logged on just seconds after you started. So that is awesome.
How funny. But I want to thank everyone for being on our first and again, maybe only Good Morning Corona Zoom call we've ever done, but we're in a new world. And I'm sure all of us are going to be using Zoom more often. But again, I want to thank everyone for being on there. Thank the district attorney, our supervisor, Spiegel, and everyone, our sponsor, Riverside Medical Clinic. You guys were great.
Can we take a group picture?
What's that?
We take a group picture?
Yeah, we're going to take
Stephanie,
a group
are you
picture.
able to do that?
Yeah. If everybody turns on their camera and smiles, I'll take it.
Go ahead. Everybody have their camera on?
Everybody smile.
Okay. I want to.
And there'll be multiple screens. So ready, set, smile. Nice.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Anything
Thanks,
else,
Johnny.
Bobby?
Nope, we're good. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
In the
2
chat
o'clock
box.
today, we have a flyover. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Woohoo!